Now chapter 3, that is plant kingdom. We study algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Okay, in the plant kingdom, these are divisions, not classes. Okay, R.H. Whitaker in 1969. 5 kingdom classification: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Animalia and Plantia. Plantia, commonly known as plant kingdom. Fungi and members of the Monera and Protista having cell walls have now been excluded from Plantia, though earlier classification placed them in the same kingdom. Okay, fungi, members of Monera and Protista. So the cyanobacteria that are also referred to as blue green algae are not algae anymore. Okay. The earliest systems of classification use only gross superficial morphological characters such as habit, color, number, shape of leaves, etc. They were based mainly on vegetative characters or the androecium structure system given by Linnaeus. Such systems were artificial. They separated the closely related species since they were based on a few characteristics. Also, the artificial system gave equal weightage to the vegetative and sexual characteristics. This is not acceptable since we know that often the vegetative characters are more easily affected by the environment. So this is all the artificial classification system given based on the structures like androecium given by the Linnaeus and all that vegetative characters, and equal importance to the vegetative and sexual characters, which is not acceptable. And so this is all about the artificial classification system, which were based on only gross superficial morphological characters, right? Includes habit, color, number and shape of leaves. Now, but against this natural classification system developed, which were based on natural affinities among the organisms and consider not only the external features but also internal features like ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology, phytochemistry. Such a classification for flowering plants, for not non-flowering plants, flowering plants, was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. And flowering plants, these are the angiosperms. At present, phylogenetic classification system based on evolutionary relationships between the various organisms are acceptable. It is an advance. This assumes that organisms belonging to the same taxa have a common ancestor, right? But these become more important when there is no supporting fossil evidence. Now, numerical taxonomy, which is now easily carried out using computers, is based on all observable characters. Number and codes are assigned to all the characters and the data are then proceed. In this way, this is why each character gets the given equal importance, and at the same time hundreds of characters can be considered. Cytotaxonomy, that is based on cytological information, that is chromosome number, structure and behavior, and chemotaxonomy, that uses the chemical constituents of the plant to resolve confusions. Okay, cytotaxonomy, cytological information, that is cell information, and chemotaxonomy, that is chemical constituents of the plants. So first division is the algae are chlorophyll bearing simple thyroid autotrophic and largely aquatic, both fresh and marine organisms. They occur in variety of other habitats. So some of them occurs in association with fungi, that is lichens, and animals on sloth bear. It is a type of size, that is colonial volvox, in filamentous form, that is Ulothrix and Spirovera, right? A few form of marine forms such as kilps, they form the massive plant bouquets, right? Now algae reproduce by vegetative, sexual and asexual methods. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation. Each fragment develops into a thallus type of body present in the algae, that is thyroid. Asexual reproduction is by the production of different types of spores, the most common being the zoospores. They are flagellated, motile. On germination gives rise to new plants. Sexual reproduction takes place through the fusion of two gametes. These gametes can be flagellated and similar in size as in Ulothrix, and on non-flagellated, that is non-motile but similar in size as is in Spirovera. Okay. So Ulothrix and Spirogara are examples given of isogamous. Such reproduction is called the isogamous. Fusion of two gametes dissimilar in size. Earlier it was similar in size, now it is dissimilar in size, as in the species of Eudorina. So these are the anisogamous. The fusion between one large non-motile female gamete and a small motile male gamete is termed as oogamous. Volvox and fucus, these are the example. Large non-motile static female gamete, a smaller motile male gamete is termed as oogamous. Example in Volvox and fucus. So these are the diagrams. First one is green alga, that is Volvox and Ulothrix. We'll see it in the later. Algae are useful to man in various ways because at least a half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. Being photosynthesis, they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment. Okay. There are many species of Porphyra, laminary and sargassum. Porphyra, laminary and sargassum are among the 70 species of marine algae used as a food. Certain marine brown and red algae produce large amounts of hydrocolloids. Okay. Now where we are, like, okay, the certain amounts of where it was, okay, certain amounts of, like a certain marine brown and red algae produce large amounts of hydrocolloids, water holding substances. Now these are algine, that is brown algae, produced by brown algae, and carrageen, it is a kind of hydrocolloids, it is a by red algae, which are used commercially. Okay. Agar, one of the commercial products obtained from Gelidium and Gracilaria, are used to grow microbes and in preparation of ice cream and jelly. So agar is a different thing. Algine and carrageen, these are the hydrocolloids. Don't get confused. Agar is a different thing. Okay. Now chlorella, unicellular alga rich in proteins, is used as a supplement even by space travelers. The algae are divided into three main classes, that is Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. Now in Chlorophyceae, it is a green algae, right? Plant body may be unicellular, collinear, filamentous, same as that of general algae. They are usually grass green due to the dominance of pigments chlorophyll A and B. The pigments are localized in a definite chloroplast. The chloroplast may be discoid, platelet, reticulate. They have variety of shapes and structures. Most of the members have one or more storage bodies called pyrenoids located in the chloroplast. Pyrenoids contain protein besides starch. So besides the starch, they contain the protein besides starch. Okay, some algae may store food in the form of oil droplets also. Green algae usually have rigid cell wall made up of inner is cellulose and outer layer is pectose. Now vegetative reproduction usually takes place by the fragmentation. Asexual reproduction is by flagellated zoospores produced in the zoosporangia. Okay, the sexual reproduction shows considerable variation in the type and formation of sex cells. It may be isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. Some commonly examples of algae are Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Ulothrix, Pyrogara and Chara. Okay, now Phaeophyceae. The members of Phaeophyceae or brown algae are generally found in marine habitats. Okay, simple branch filamentous forms, that is Ectocarpus, to profusely branched forms represented by kilps, okay, which may reach a height of 100 meters. They possess chlorophyll A and C and carotenoids and xanthophylls. Okay. The pigments vary. So the amount of the xanthophyll pigment, that is fucoxanthin, present in them, that vary. Food is stored as complex carbohydrates, which may be in the form of laminarin or mannitol. The vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall usually covered on the outside by a gelatinous coating of algine. The vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall usually covered on the outside by a gelatinous coating of algine. Okay. The protoplast contains, in addition to plastic, central located vacuole and nucleus. The plant body is usually attached to the substratum by a holdfast and has a stalk, the stipe and leaf-like photosynthetic organ, that is frond. So holdfast, stalk, that is the stipe, and the frond, that is a leaf-like photosynthetic organ. So vegetative reproduction takes by fragmentation, same in both the algae. Asexual reproduction in most brown algae is by biflagellated zoospores that are pear-shaped and have two unequal laterally attached flagella. Two unequal, and they have the pear-shaped, and these are the biflagellated zoospores. Okay, unequal laterally attached flagella. Sexual reproduction may be isogamous, anisogamous, oogamous. Union of gametes may take place in water or within the oogonium, that is oogomonous species. The gametes are pyriform, that is pear shaped, and bear two laterally attached flagella. In sexual reproduction, the gametes are pyriform, that is pear shaped, same as that of asexual reproduction, but they are not unequal. It just written that bear two laterally attached flagella. So the examples are ectocarpus, ductuta, laminaria, sargassum, and fucus. Remember, fucus is a phaeophycia. Okay, and chara and volvox and everything, it's inside the chlorophycia. Now rhodophycia, that is the red algae. Okay, because of the predominance of the red pigment, that is R-phycoerythrin, in their body, the majority of red algae are marine with greater concentration found in the warmer areas, right? They are present in both well-lighted regions close to the surface of water and also at the great depths in oceans where relatively little light penetrates. The red thala of most of the red algae are multicellular. Okay, some of them have complex body organization. The food is stored as Floridian starch, which is similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure. So amylopectin and glycogen in structure has the similar structure as that of the Floridian starch. So now red algae usually reproduce vegetatively by fragmentation. They reproduce asexually by non-motile spores, only non-motile spores, and sexually by non-motile gametes. So no motile phase occurs in red algae, and the sexual reproduction is oogamous and accompanied by a complex post-fertilization developments. The common members are Polycyponia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, and Gelidium. Polycyponia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, and Gelidium. Now this table discussion divisions of algae and their main characteristics. Now three types of classes of algae, that is chlorophycia, phaeophycia, and rhodophycia. Common name: green algae, brown algae, red algae. Major pigments: chlorophyll AB, chlorophyll AC, fucoxanthin, that is carotenoids, and then chlorophyll AD and phycoerythrin. The stored food starch: laminaria, mannitol, or Floridian starch, the same structure as that of amylopectin and glycogen. Okay, the cell wall: mannitol and laminaria, type of carbohydrate. Okay, and pyronate bodies are present in the green algae, that is protein beside the starch. The cell wall: it is cellulose, and algin. Cellulose, pectin and polysulfate esters. Characteristics of rhodophycia. Then flagellar number and position of insertion: 2 to 8 equal apical in the green algae, and 2 unequal, as I said, unequal laterally, that is brown algae, and red algae absent. So habitat not that important. Now let me tell you examples. Okay, so this one is the volvox, that is colonial form, and this one is the Eudirina, I think, no, Eulothrix, this one. And then brown algae, this is laminaria, frond, stipe, and holdfast. This one is fucus, that is air bladder, frond, lip-like structure, midrib, and holdfast. And then stipe, that is, this one is ductuta, that is frond and stipe. And then this one is the porphyra, that is red alga and frond, and Polycyponia, their main axis, and these are the branches. So Polycyponia, so Porphyra, Polycyponia, Gracilaria, and Gelidium, examples of red algae. So this is all about the algae. Now about the bryophytes. Now the bryophytes include the various mosses and liverworts that are found commonly growing in moist shaded areas in the hills. These Archaeogoniphore, Gimacups, rhizoids. Anthridiophore, it's kind of messy, so Anthridiophore, the flower is kind of messy, so Anthridiophore, that is Gimacup and rhizoids. Then below, that is a Phoneria. So in liverwort, bryophyte are liverwort, Markensia, female thallus and male thallus. We still call it a thallus, right? But it's more differentiated than the algae. Phoneria, showing the gametophyte, over it is a sporophyte. And then sphagnum gametophyte. So antheridial branch, archegonial branch, they have the female and male sex organs, then they create the gametes. So So on the gametophyte, so and then there are branches. So this is it. And in here funaria, gametophyte contains, this is like main root, rhizoids, then leaves, and then seta and capsule. Sporophyte contains seta and capsule. Okay. Now, bryophytes are also called amphibians of the plant kingdom because these plants can live in soil but are dependent on water for sexual reproduction. They usually occur in damp, humid, shaded localities. They play an important role in plant succession on bare rocks and soil. The plant body of bryophytes is more differentiated than that of algae. It is thallus-like, prostate, erect, attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. They lack true roots, stems, or leaves. They may possess root-like, leaf-like, or stem-like structures, as I said you. Hence is called a gametophyte. Hence is called a gametophyte. The sex organs in bryophytes are multicellular. The male sex organs is called antheridium. They produce bifragile antherozoids. The female sex organs are called archegonium. Is flask shaped and produces a single egg. The antherozoids are released into water where they come in contact with the archegonium. An antherozoid fuses with the egg to form the zygote. Zygote do not undergo reduction division immediately. They produce a multicellular body called a saprophyte. Sporophyte. The sporophyte is not free living but attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte and derives nourishment from it. Some cells of the sporophyte undergoes reduction division, meiosis, to produce haploid spores. These spores germinate to produce gametophytes. Bryophytes in general are of little economic importance, but some mosses provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds, and other animals. Species of Sphagnum moss provide pith that have long been used as a fuel. Okay, species of Sphagnum for the transmission of living material because of their capacity to hold water. Mosses along with lichens are the first organisms to colonize rocks and hence are of great ecological importance. So mosses and the bryophytes have the great ecological importance. Okay, now they decompose rocks, making rocks and hence are of great ecological. They decompose the rocks, making the substrate suitable for the growth of the higher plants. Some mosses form dense mats on the soil. They reduce the impact of falling rain and prevent the soil erosion. The bryophytes are divided into liverworts and mosses. Liverworts. The liverworts grow usually in moist, shady habitats such as the banks of streams, marshy ground, damp soil, and all this. The plant body of liverwort is thalloid, that is Markensia. The thallus is dorsiventral, closely appraised to the substrate. The leaf members have tiny leaf-like appendages into two rows on the stem-like structure. Asexual reproduction in liverworts is takes by the fragmentation of thalli or the formation of the specialized structure called gymi. So fragmentation of thalli is different thing and gyma is different thing. By the formation of specialized structure called gyma, gyma are green multicellular asexual buds. These are the buds which develop in small receptacle called gyma cups. Called gyma cups located on the thalli. The gyma become detached from the parent body and germinate to form new individuals. During sexual reproduction, male and female organs are produced either on the same or on different thalli. Male or female sex organs, they are produced either on the same or on different thalli. The sporophyte is differentiated into food, seta, and capsule. After meiosis, the spores are produced within the capsule. These spores germinate to give rise free living gametophytes, I think. Then there are the mosses. The predominant stage of life cycle of moss is the gametophyte. As we all know, gametophyte is the predominant stage in the bryophytes, which consists of two stages. Now the gametophyte itself in the mosses has the two has the two has the two what has the two stages. Is fundamentally which develops directly from a spore, spore. Okay, the first stage is the proteinema stage, which develops directly from a spore. It is a creeping green branch and frequently filamentous stage. The second stage is the leafy stage, which develops from the secondary proteinema as a lateral bud, which develops from the secondary proteinema as a lateral bud. They consist of upright, slender axis bearing spirally arranged leaves. They are attached to the soil through multicellular branch rhizoids. This stage bears the sex organs. Vegetative reproduction in mosses is by fragmentation and budding in the secondary proteinema. Right. So first proteinema. What is proteinema? It is a gametophytic. It is a gametophyte which has two stages. First is the proteinema and second is the leafy stages. So vegetative reproduction in mosses is by fragmentation and budding in the second proteinema. In sexual reproduction, the sex organs Antheridia and Archegonia are produced at the apex of the leafy shoots. After fertilization, the zygote develops into a sporophyte. After fertilization, the zygote develops into a sporophyte, consists of a food, seta and capsule. Right. The capsule contains spores. Spores are formed after meiosis. The mosses have an elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal. Common examples of mosses are Funaria, polytrichum and sphagnum.